Chapter 5. The Word in Leadership and Influence. Abdrushan emphasizes in the Grail message that the human word is not neutral. It is a living form, charged with spiritual energy, that continues to work in the fabric of creation. When spoken by leaders or individuals with influence, words can set entire nations on a path of peace, renewal, or destruction. Leadership is, at its core, word-based. Policies, visions, promises, speeches, and declarations are all words spoken into the collective. These words are not fleeting. They set into motion currents that shape the fate of communities, organizations, and entire peoples. In this sense, leadership is inseparably bound with the responsibility of speech. Words that built nations. History offers striking evidence of how words alone have shifted the course of nations. Winston Churchill's wartime speeches. At Britain's darkest hour in 1940, when invasion seemed imminent, Churchill's words, "We shall fight on the beaches. We shall never surrender," ignited the spirit of resistance. Psychologists later noted that morale in Britain surged dramatically after his speeches. His words became a shield, not merely rhetoric, because they aligned with the law of spiritual upliftment. Words imbued with truth and resolve strengthen. Martin Luther King Jr. His 1963, "I Have a Dream," speech galvanized the American civil rights movement. Decades later, his words continue to inspire change worldwide, woven into education, politics, and human rights campaigns. The resonance endures because his words sprang from truth and a higher vision, aligning with the laws of creation. These examples illustrate Abdrushan's insight. Words do not vanish, they remain active, forming streams of influence that reach far beyond their initial moment. Words that destroyed. But the same power, misused, becomes devastating. Adolf Hitler's propaganda. Through fiery speeches, Hitler inflamed hatred, manipulated grievances, and justified atrocities. His words laid the groundwork for the Holocaust and World War II. Historians agree that Nazi power rested not only on force but on the intoxicating spell of rhetoric. Abdrushan warns that words infused with falsehood and hatred become destructive currents that return with devastating effect. The suffering of millions was, in part, the harvest of poisoned words. Rwandan genocide 1994 radio broadcasts, especially from Radio Television Libre des Mille Collines, incited ordinary citizens to massacre their neighbors. Words labeling Tutsis as cockroaches stripped away human dignity and triggered one of the worst genocides of the late 20th century. The International Tribunal on Rwanda concluded that hate speech was itself a crime of genocide, showing the recognition of word as deed. Thus, leadership speech is not only morally but spiritually binding. Words spoken from positions of power carve destiny for entire peoples. Influence in the digital age. Abdrushan's warnings are even more urgent in today's interconnected world, where leaders, influencers, and celebrities command vast audiences instantly through social media. A single tweet, video, or soundbite can ripple globally within hours, affecting markets, politics, and even the course of public health. COVID-19 misinformation. Studies published in Nature 2020 showed that misleading words from prominent figures, denying the seriousness of the virus, discouraging masks, or promoting unproven cures, directly reduced compliance with safety measures and led to preventable deaths. Words misused became instruments of harm on a planetary scale. The #MeToo movement. Conversely, when survivors of abuse began speaking publicly, their words broke decades of silence and sparked systemic change in Hollywood, politics, and workplaces worldwide. Companies rewrote policies, courts revisited cases, and entire industries reevaluated culture, showing the constructive force of words aligned with truth. Never before has the responsibility for the human word been so magnified. Every influencer, celebrity, politician, or preacher is daily shaping collective destiny through words. The spiritual law at work. Abdrushan's teaching clarifies why this is so powerful. Every word, once uttered, immediately begins weaving threads in the spiritual realm. When spoken by one with influence, those threads are multiplied by the receptive thoughts and emotions of listeners. Thus, a leader's word is not merely his own. It is magnified by thousands or millions who take it up, creating a collective current that returns in amplified form. This explains why entire societies can swing toward light or darkness in a short time, the multiplier effect of words. Words rooted in truth uplift multitudes, words rooted in lies pull whole nations into collapse. The way forward. The lesson for today's leaders and influencers is clear. Speak only what is true. False words will inevitably return as downfall. Speak with foresight. Recognize that every statement plants seeds in the destiny of many. Harness words to build, not inflame. Criticism must aim at correction, not destruction. Model restraint. In a world of instant expression, the discipline of silence before speaking is more necessary than ever. As Abdrushan makes plain, words are deeds. For leaders and influencers, this means every utterance carries spiritual responsibility far beyond their personal circle. They are, knowingly or not, shaping the fate of their followers, and one day, must answer for it. In leadership and influence, words are the greatest power entrusted to humans. To misuse them is to destroy, to use them in truth is to guide nations toward light. The challenge of today is whether leaders will recognize this responsibility in time, before careless words drive humanity deeper into confusion and chaos.